right, welcome everybody to the next to the last NBC game of the week of the season. As we have the New York Yankees taking on the Cleveland Indians from Cleveland Stadium. Not the sexiest pitching matchup in the world. Jim Beattie for the Yankees against David Clyde for the Cleveland Indians. Hello, Kenny. Good to see you. Yep, two more games to go. This one and next Saturday. Next Saturday is Toronto at Boston, and that'll finish off this replay. Hello, Brian B. Good to see you. All right. Beattie and Clyde, and you can look and see for yourself the starting lineup. It's pretty standard for the Yankees. I don't see anything that's unusual for them. Don't know that much about Cleveland's starting lineup, but that's who they have. Seems like, I don't know, Wayne Cage is kind of an off-the-wall guy to have as a DH, but everybody else looks like they're pretty much standard. Clyde on the 78 season was 8-11 with a 428 earned run average. Beattie was 6-9 with a 373. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. First order of business, of course, is to do the ballpark, and we are at Cleveland Stadium. So temperature it was still in September according to the schedule here, so it's 60 degrees. So the only way we get a +1 is if these three dice equal 23 points, 23 total. So it's not likely to happen, and it is not. It's only going to equal 17. So that makes it 77 degrees, so no change on the deep drives for the ballpark. The ballpark will be standard. All right, got my book here just in case, because like I said, I only play it once a week, so some of these rules I got to brush up on, as they say. All right, so Mickey Rivers will lead off against David Clyde. Let's get this down where you can see the actual line score here. There we go. So Mickey Rivers facing David Clyde, lefty on lefty matchup. To start us off, David Clyde, 22 years old in the 78 season. That's a 5-12, and we're going right to David Clyde's card. 5-12 is a 1-3 put. I'm sorry, 5-12 is a 1-3 put out right here. So first play, very simple. Mickey Rivers taps it back to Clyde, one away. Here's Willie Randolph. That's a 140 non-split side, and that'll be a base on balls. So Clyde will walk Randolph. Clyde's got a good hold rating of 8, so only a steal rating of 2 for Randolph. So he's not going to go in, especially with Munson and Jackson coming up. You don't want to run yourself out of an inning. So here is Thurman Munson. We get a 330 non-split is a fly ball to right field, and that's 2 away. That'll bring up Reggie Jackson. Hello, Scooney. Good to see you. Reggie Jackson. It is pouring down rain outside. We're getting there's some kind of tropical storm or hurricane off Bermuda or whatever, and we're getting some of the rain effects of that. So been a rainy, nasty day all day. So good day to stay inside, watch college football, or play dice. Play sports games on dice. So here's Reggie. 458. 458 against a lefty Clyde. So we'll go here 458. Would have been a single against a righty, but against a lefty, he will strike out. That's Clyde's first strikeout, and that's going to do it for the Yankees. I don't think it's coming through on my headphone, but I can hear the rain out there. It is. I need to go to the landfill, take our trash, but trying to wait for the rain to subside a little bit before I do that. All right, here's Rick Manning. He will lead off against Jim Beattie. These cards out of the way if I can. They're not being used. Kind of a little distracting to see those in the corner up there, so let's get them out of the way. There we go. All right, here's Rick Manning. That's a 525, and that's right to the catcher, Munson, but that blue 5 might be a little bit of an issue. We'll see. And it'll be a walk. On a blue 5, we're going to get a walk out of that. So Rick Manning will draw the base on balls, and that'll Let's see, Beattie's got a 4 hold. Manning's got a steal of 6, but he got caught 12 times too. So I think we'll hold him here and let Jim Norris swing away, left fielder. That's a 445. I'm sorry, 454. 454 against the righty Beattie. 454 is right here. It's a 4-6 fielder's choice. And that'll be one away with Norris now, the new runner. For Buddy Bell, third baseman. That's a 307, and that'll be a strikeout for Jim Beattie. Strikeout number 1, and here's Andre Thornton. First baseman, not designated hitter. Let's see, 461, and again against a right-hander. 461 is a single. I mean, a strikeout would have been a single against a lefty, but against a righty, he will strike out, and that's going to end the inning. So nothing doing for Cleveland in the first. We go to the second, no score from Cleveland Stadium, also known as the Mistake by the Lake by some people. All right, due up is Lou Piniella, Sweet Lou. Maybe the original Sweet Lou before Lou Whitaker came along. Piniella is in right field for this one. 361, and that's a non-split. 361 is a 5-3 ground out. Buddy Bell handles it, one away for Chris Chambliss. Lefty on lefty matchup. Hello, Clay. Happy Saturday to you. Hope it's not raining where you are. It's pouring. It's miserable out here. It's pouring down rain. It's a good day to be inside. Hello, Ernest. Good to see you. All right, 6:22. We are going to the ballpark, but again, the visiting team is batting, so there is no boost for the ballpark. So 6:22 is a pop-up to second base, and that is 1 away, or 2 away now, actually. The home team gets that +10, but not the visiting team. Here's Greg Nettles. 263. That's a Clyde against the lefty Nettles. 263 is a 6-3 ground out. Would have been a double play had somebody been on first, but the bases were clear, so it's just an easy play for Clyde to get out of. And at the end of 1.5, we still got no score from Cleveland. Jim Beattie back out, and he'll be facing Wayne Cage. I don't know anything about Wayne Cage. He had 98 at-bats in the 78 season, and he hit 245. First baseman and /DH. So in this game, he is the role of DH. Hello, Mr. Gudeman. Good to see you. Beattie to Cage. That's a 374. So we come here to non-split, and the 300 to 387 is a strikeout. So third strikeout for Beattie. And that'll bring up Gary Alexander. He will be doing the catching in this one. 252, and this is a split chance. Beattie a righty against Alexander a righty. So we're in this column, 252. And it's a 1-3 ground out. Would have been a single against a lefty batter, but not a righty batter. So it's a 1-3 put out for out number 2. Hello, Jimmy Jan. Good to see you. And Joel Horland, good to see you. Here's Dwayne Kuiper. Probably more known for his announcing than for his baseball playing days. Hello, Chuck. Good to see you. But he's really more well known as a Giants announcer, I think. And I think his only career home run came off Steve Stone, if I'm not mistaken. 558, and that's a fielding check for the third baseman Nettles. But that blue 8 is going to be problems for Nettles. This is going to most likely get by him for a base hit. There we go. 558 is actually going to be a single to left field for Dwayne Kuiper. So a 2-out single for Kuiper, and that'll bring up Dan Briggs. And I got to admit, I don't know a lot of these Cleveland players because, except for the big name guys like, Buddy Bell or Rick Manning or Andre Thornton, I know those guys, but guys like Dan Briggs and Wayne Cage, don't know anything about them. All right, here is Dan Briggs. Like I said, another guy I don't know anything about. He's playing right field in this one. He only had 49 at bats. This was on the I printed this off via PDF, so I could have everybody. So Briggs, 49 at bats, hit a .163 with 1 home run. Beattie to Briggs, that's a 324 non-split, and that'll be a strikeout. Strikeout number 4 for Jim Beattie. So at the end of 2 innings, we got no score from Cleveland. Even though the pitching matchup is not stellar, they're holding their own, as they say. And boy, I can't even. It's just a torrential downpour out there. I'm sorry you can't pick it up on this microphone, but it is coming down out there. Cats and dogs, as they say. All right, here's Roy White, left fielder. Switch hitter, batting right-handed against the lefty Clyde. That's a 482. So against Clyde, the lefty, 482 is a fly to center. And that's one away. That'll bring up Bucky, Dent, number 9 hitter. 190, and that's going to be a non-split for Clyde. And 190 is a bloop single. So Bucky Dent gets the first hit of the game for the Yankees. And that'll bring up Mickey Rivers, lefty on lefty. That's a 558. That's bad news for Nettles again. That's another one he's not going to be able to get to with that 8 staring him in the face. That's going to be very hard to get to that. I'm sorry, it's got Buddy Bell, not Nettles. My bad. Buddy Bell. Buddy Bell, he's still, we get a blue 8, you're almost cooked. So 558 is going to be a single to left field. Absolutely. So with the ball hit to left field, Bucky Dent will hold. He will not challenge. Going first to third is going to be a rough go of it when the ball's hit to left field. So first and second, 1 out. And here is Willie Randolph. That's a 606. But again, don't add 10. We're just going to keep the 606 on the ballpark card. And it is a strikeout. So Willie Randolph is down on strikes, his second of the game for Clyde. And that brings up Thurman Munson in a clutch situation. 2 on, 2 outs. Clyde to Munson. That's a 441. And Munson facing a lefty Clyde, 441, is going to be a 6-4-3 double play, but there's already 2 outs, so it's just going to be a 6-3 ground out. Or I guess you could call it a 6-4 fielder's choice if you so chose. Doesn't really matter. It's the 3rd out. That's all that really counts. So now we go to the bottom of the 3rd, and number 9 hitter Tom Verizor. I knew him more with the Tigers back in the earlier 70s than I did with the Indians in the late 70s. So here's Verizor, 402, and that's, again, the split chance. Beattie's a righty. 402 is a 2-3 ground out. And you can see here in the 300, in the 300 range, he's only got 300 to 315, so he didn't strike out a whole lot, apparently, because some of these guys have 50 and 60 numbers in here, but he stops at 315, so he was one of those guys that looks like put the ball in play. Here's Rick Manning, 242, and Beattie against the lefty hitting Manning goes to the lefty column. 242 is a foul out to third, or pop to third, whatever you want to call it. And here's Jim Norris. That's a 592. The blue 2 is going to be very easy for the right fielder for the Yankees. In this case, that is Lou Piniella. So a 592 for Lou Piniella. Oh, he's on his secondary ratings. So we get the secondary defensive card out because he's rated for left field, but he's playing right field in this game. So we look at our secondary chart for outfielders. And we're looking at the range here. Is the blue die less than or equal to his range? Range in left field for Piniella is a 5. So we're also looking at the left of his arm. His arm is a 3. The blue die is still less than that. So if the blue die is less than that, and he's a right fielder, it's a fly ball to right field. And that's going to end the inning because that's the 3rd out of the inning. Nobody was on base to worry about. It was just a simple fly out. And that will end the inning. So Norris is retired. Clyde back out. Will face Reggie Jackson, Lou Piniella, and Chris Chambliss. So Hot Dog Jackson struck out he struck out his first time up. See what he does this time. 234, and that's a split chance against the lefty Jackson. 234 is a 4-3 ground out. One away. Oops, didn't write the 0 up here like I should have. So one down, and here is Sweet Lou. It's a 118. That's a redirect to a 318. So we go here to 318, and 318 is an infield single for Lou. A lot of guys would have struck out, but he only has 6 numbers here. Or actually 7 numbers, 300 to 306. But 318, a lot of times that would strike somebody out, but not Lou Piniella. He gets a base hit. Not a 314 hitter for no reason. Right, here's Chris Chambliss. That's a 566 for the shortstop for Riser, but the blue 6 is going to be a little bit interesting. Not sure he can get to this. 566, he does actually get to it. It's going to be a 6. It's the last number in a 6-3 ground out. So he'll get to it, but the runner will advance. Piniella will go to second base on the 6-3 ground out. But now there's 2 away, and it's up to Greg Nettles. Greg Nettles, again in a clutch situation. Lefty on lefty, 574. So we're looking at the left fielder for the Cleveland Indians, Jim Norris. The 4 should be okay with him, but you never know. And again, we're going to our secondary rating because he is actually rated for right field. He's playing left field in this game. So we're going back to our secondary defense once again. But the blue 4 should be okay with his defense, you would think, because his arm and his range are both 5 in left field, which is greater than the 4. So that means it will simply be a fly to left field, and that will end the inning. Had that blue die been like a 6 or 7 or something like that, then he would have had trouble. Blue die in this game to me is equivalent to the devil die in Strat. Sometimes it's evil, sometimes it works out. All right, so Jim Beattie. So we start at the bottom of the 4th. Jim Beattie going to be facing Buddy Bell. Bell struck out his first time up. 386, and that's a non-split. 386 is going to be a single for Buddy Bell. Leadoff single. And here comes the powerful Andre Thornton. He had 33 home runs in that 78 season. That's a 524. So we're looking at the catcher Munson. With the blue 4, he might be able to make a play on this. And he does. With a 524, it's going to end up being a foul out to Munson. If that blue die had been a 5, it would have been a base on balls. But it's just going to be a foul out to Munson for 1 away. And here comes the infamous Wayne Cage. Cage struck out his first time. That's a 425. And that's going to be Cage against a right-handed pitcher. 425 is a 4-3 double play. So that's going to end the inning. 4 unassisted by Kuiper, and then he throws on to first to complete the double play. I'm sorry, not Kuiper, Randolph. And that's going to end the inning. So 4 innings in the books, and we got nothing decided. We got no score from Cleveland. Yankees will send the bottom of the order. Roy White, Bucky Dent, and Mickey Rivers. That's a 452 against a lefty pitcher. 452 is a 5-4 ground out, or 5-3 ground out with nobody on base. So he grounds out to Buddy Bell, 1 down, and here's Bucky Bleepin' Dent. 104, and that's going to be a redirect to a 304, and 304 is not going to be a strikeout because Dent didn't strike out much. It'll be a fly to right instead. But you can see he only has a couple numbers here for strikeouts, so Bucky Dent didn't strike out very often. Here's Mickey Rivers, 295, and that's going to be against Clyde against the lefty Rivers. 295 is a deep drive to right field. Mickey Rivers' power is a 4. So we go to the ballpark and looking at the right field, we're going to add 4 to these 2 dice and see what we get. We get a 7, so we add 4 to that, making an 11. The 11 is going to be a fly to right field, and that will end the inning. So Rivers not with a lot of power, so it wasn't much of a threat there. He only had, well, he had 11 home runs, but he's only listed as a 4 for power, so didn't get the good roll he needed on the ballpark deep drive chart to make any effect. So we go to the bottom of the 5th, and it'll be Gary Alexander, Dwayne Kuiper, and Dan Briggs. 186, and that's going to be a wild pitch, but nobody's on base, so just ball 1. 476, that's a split chance against a right-hander. 476 is a single to left field. So Gary Alexander, a leadoff single, and that'll bring up Kuiper. Would Kuiper consider bunting? I don't know. He's got good contact, so they're going to take a chance he can get a base hit here. Bottom part of the order is coming up. I don't think you want to bunt to have the bottom part of the order do anything. 585, we're looking at Mickey Rivers. See if he can get to this. 585 he does. It's a fly ball to center field with the plus, but I don't think a runner on first can do anything with that. I think it's only second and third where you can move up on that. But I will double check it, and somebody can double check me when I see what I've got here. Yeah, second and third tags, run on first stays. So fly ball to center. Rivers makes the play. Hey, Ben, good to see you. Here is Dan Briggs, and that is a 128, and that's a redirect to a 328, and that will be a strikeout. He's got a 300 to 358 range, so Briggs looks like he struck out quite a bit for the number of bats he had, and that's going to be strikeout number 5 for Beattie. And that'll bring up the number 9 man, Tom Verizor. Verizor grounded out to Munson his first time. 217, and he's a righty, so 217 is going to be a redirect to a 417. 417 is going to be a 6-3 ground out, and that will end the inning. So 5 innings are in the books, and we got no score from Cleveland. I certainly was expecting some runs here against these two pitchers, but so far they're hanging. They're doing the old, was it Backstreet Boys hanging tough? All right, so here is Willie Randolph. That's 208 for Randolph. 208, he's a righty. 208's a redirect to a 408, and that's going to be a base on balls. So Willie Randolph will walk. He's walked twice and struck out. Go figure. Stole 36 bases, so they might be having him try to get a lead here against the good hold of Clyde. But he did, like I said, he stole 36 bases. So we'll check on the getting the lead. And of course, the lead is going to be the steal rating plus these 2 dice. So a steal rating is only a 2. So the 2 plus these 2 dice have to total greater than or equal to 8 plus the 10. So it's got to be greater than or equal to 18. So the only way he gets the lead here is if these 2 dice total 16 or higher. And they only total 12, so he cannot get the lead. He will hold. Oh, New Kids on the Block. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's not my genre of music. I just knew it was one of those boy bands. I'm kind of embarrassed I even knew it. I think that's the one that Wahlberg was in that played on the TV show about New York police. I think he was in that group, I think, but I could be wrong. Here's Munson. 569. That's trouble for the shortstop Verizor when you get a blue 9. He's almost definitely not going to make that play. Probably make an error, and he does. 569 is going to be an E6. So 1 base error on Verizor, and now the Yankees have 2 on and nobody out for Hot Dog Jackson. He's got some kind of news show about Boston something or other. I don't know. Okay, Reggie Jackson, Hot Dog Jackson is up. He's 0 for 2. Would be a good time to bunt and move the runners in scoring position, but Reggie Jackson is just too self-centered to bunt, so he's going to go ahead and swing away. 477, and against a lefty, 477, he gets plunked. He gets hit by the pitch. And without the benefit of a hit, the Yankees have the bases loaded and nobody out. a walk, an error, and a hit by pitch. They have loaded the bases. So Reggie took one for the team. Hello, Captain. Good to see you. So Piniella is up infield looking for the double play. They'll play back for a double play depth. They need outs. 322, and that's a non-split, and 322 is an infield single, so it doesn't matter. It's a base hit, infield single, and the Yankees are on the board 1-0. Infield single from Lou Piniella. Still nobody out. Bases loaded. And here's Chambliss. 246. That's a lefty on lefty matchup. 246 is a foul out to third base, or pop up to third base. So the infield runners have to hold. Oops, how did Jim Norris get in there? I don't know how he got snuck in there. Here's Greg Nettles. Now the double play would get him out of the inning. That's a 280, and against a lefty Nettles, 280. Boy, he got a fly ball to right field. It would have been a deep drive against a righty, but a fly ball to right, and that's 2 down. I'm trying to remember on these sacrifice fly chances, is there a chance to move up? Or I think the F9, with no question mark, I believe he just has to hold there. I believe it's just a shallow fly ball to right without any kind of, if there's no notations there, I believe he has to hold, as far as I can tell. Yep, shallow fly out. Thank you for confirming that. All right, so not deep enough to score the run. So if Clyde can get out of this just giving up 1 run, he'll be in good shape. Here's Roy White. 175, and that's going to be a bloop single to first base, or bloop single, I should say. And with 2 outs, automatic 2-base advance on bloop singles. So that'll score 2 runs. These are unearned runs. The error on the shortstop Verizon has opened the door for these runs. So it's now 3-0 Yankees. But anytime you get a bloop single, runners are off with contact with 2 outs, and that's going to be a 2-run single. Make it 3-0 Yankees, and here's Bucky Dent. That's a 649 ballpark card. 649 is a 5-3 ground out, or actually a 5-4 fielder's choice. It's going to be technical. And that will end the inning. But 3 runs come in, and the Yankees take a 3-0 lead into the bottom of the 6th, and they will hand that over to Mr. Beattie. Now, Beattie actually got to keep track of this because his fatigue started last inning and he gave up 1 single. So anything he gives up now, we will add another 10 points. It'll be 20 points added plus the 10. So it'll actually be a plus 30 if he keeps going, because you're going to get he's already got 10 ding here. The home team gets 10. That's 20. And the next hit's going to be another 10. That'll be a 30-point bonus for the Tribe. So the Yankees may want to get their bullpen going. Here is not Jim Norris. It's Rick Manning. I don't know how Jim Norris got ahead of Rick Manning, but somehow he did. Jim Norris just going to all kinds of places he shouldn't be. All right, here's Rick Manning. 533, and that should be an easy play for Chris Chambliss, you would think. 5-3-3, and that is going to be a 3 unassisted ground out for Chris Chambliss. Takes it to the bag himself, 1 away. And Jim Norris. Hello, Rabbit. Good to see you. Norris, 468 against Beattie. He's a righty, so we're over here. 468 is going to be a triple for Jim Norris. How about that? Jim Norris, a triple. Wow. Triple from 465 to 472. He must have had at least 2 triples or something, or maybe even 3 to get that much of a range there. But he's on third with only 1 out. Yankees are leading 3-0, so they will play the infield back. They want to prevent a big inning. That's a 269, and against a right-hander Bell, 269 is listed as a 5-4-3 double play, but it'll be a 5-3 ground out. And they were going on contact, and the Yankees just want to get the out. So scoring on the play is Norris. is now 3-1, but the bases are now clear. 498. 498. And against a right-hander, that's a strikeout. It would have been a deep drive against a lefty, but against a righty, it's a strikeout. Strikeout number 6. And at the end of 6, that'll be it for Beattie. Beattie's going to go 6 innings, and that's going to be it. And probably the same for Clyde. I mean, we're in September roster call-ups, so there's plenty of guys in the bullpen. No shortage of pitching. So the Cleveland Indians, I believe, will go. Yeah, they're going to go. They're going to go and make a change in their bullpen. And there's lots of guys they can go to. Let's see who's coming up for the Yankees. It'll be Rivers, Randolph, Munson, Jack. So it's a mixture of lefties and righties. So who do they go to here? They will go to. There you go to Sid Manji. Sid Manji. Get the numbers on Clyde. He went 6 innings. Gave up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. 3 runs, but only one of them was earned. He walked. Well, he hit a batter, and he walked Randolph twice. So he walked 2 and struck out just 2. Same thing for Beattie. Beattie went 6 innings. Gave up the 1 run. He gave up 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Walked Manning to lead off the game. Didn't walk anybody after that. And he struck out 6. So Beattie in line for the win. If the Yankee bullpen can hold it. It'll be Manji facing Mickey Rivers, Willie Randolph, and Thurman Munson. That's a 539. That's trouble for the first baseman, Thornton. 539. That'll be an error on Thornton. E3. That blue devil die comes up again with a big number. And there you go. Rivers might have a hard time getting the lead, though, because his steal is only a 2 and Manji's a 7 hold. So as we've seen before on trying to obtain a lead, we're going to take the hold rating, add 10 to it, make it 17, and his steal rating plus the 2 D10s have to be equal to or greater than 17. So he basically needs these 2 dice to total 15 or higher. It's the only way he gets the lead, and he doesn't get it. So it's only a 12, which means he's only a 14, and he had to get to 17. So could not get the lead. He'll hold. And Willie Randolph. 482 against a lefty Manji. 482 is a line drive to short. Good thing they didn't steal second base because he would have been doubled off, but this is just a liner to short. 1 away. So 1 down for Thurman. That's a 454 against a lefty again. 454 is a double plus. Double plus. So I believe that's going to score a runner from first. I mean, I don't see any way it's not. Yeah, all runners score. So it's a double. And another unearned run coming in for the Yankees, but they'll take it. They lead 4-0, or 4-1 rather. But yeah, the 454, either righty or lefty, either way you go, it's a double plus. So Yankees now lead at 4-1, and here is Reggie. 557. That's gonna be a tough play for Buddy Bell. That 7 there does not look good. The double die comes up with a large number again. But Buddy Bell, being the good fielder he is, he's able to make that play. 5-3. 5-3 ground out. Now I'm trying to remember I don't think the runner would advance on that because it went to the left side, but I'm double checking here, and if Clay or somebody else can help me out, just to remind me on that. I don't think the guy moves up on that, but I could be wrong. Although it says here, I'm looking at 6-3 ground out. It says runners advance 1 base on the 6-3 ground out. So maybe he does go to third. Maybe he does go to third. Maybe somebody, if anybody can help me out on that, just to make sure I get it right. He goes third. Okay, that's what I thought. I was reading the instruction, Clay, and that's what I thought he said. So he goes to third. 2 outs now for Lou Piniella. Piniella 2 for 3. That's a 591. So finally a good number. That right fielder is Dan Briggs. And I think even with the 1, even Dan Briggs can make that play. And he does. 590 to 593 is a fly to right, and that's going to end the inning. Yankees get a run, though. Take a 4-1 lead as we go to the 7th inning stretch, and we'll just skip the formalities on the 7th inning stretch and keep it going. Yankees have to go to their bench, or not their bench, their bullpen for Beattie. Cage is a lefty. Alexander and Kuiper a lefty. Do the Yankees go with a lefty? Or do they go with a righty? They're still going to go with a righty, I think. They're going to go with... Or do they go with it? They're going to go with the lefty. I take it back. They're going to go with Sparky Lyle. When you got Sparky Lyle and Goose Gossage as a combo, that's a pretty good deal. So Sparky Lyle is on, which means we'll get a pinch hitter for Wayne Cage. Tribe will not lefty Wayne Cage hit against Sparky Lyle. They're bringing a righty. Cage is the DH, so it doesn't matter who we bring in. They can just play wherever. And it will be Paul Dade, number 0, Paul Dade. So Paul Dade will pinch hit, stay in the game as the DH. To start the 7th, Dade hit 254 in the 1978 season. Lyle to Dade. This is where I was getting it from, Clay. This is what I was reading right here. A quick start guide under outs. It says 6-3 ground out, runners advance 1 base. So I assume you could put either 5-4, 1-2, whatever as reference. So that's what I used. That's what I looked at. Dade 303 from Sparky Lyle, and that's a strikeout. 303. So Dade out on strikes. 1 down for Gary Alexander. And do they want to pinch hit for Alexander? He's 1 for 2, but his average is not the best. They could bring Bo Diaz in to catch, or Ron Pruitt. They have a couple different catchers on the roster. But they just don't have a whole lot on the bench. You got Larvell Blanks. He's decent. And they might use Blanks in place of they might use Blanks to pinch hit for Kuiper next. So we'll let Alexander, since he's a righty on lefty, we'll let him swing away. All right. Yeah, I think this is what you're talking about, Clay, right here. Runner advance on groundouts. All runners advance 1 base on grounds with the following exceptions. So there we go. That's on the back of the quick reference chart right here. Quick start card. Should say the back of that talks about runner advancement on groundouts where these guys have to hold. Everybody else, they advance. So it's a nice thing to be able to check it out. Hello, DJ from the left coast. All right, here is Gary Alexander against Lyle. 395, and that's a non-split, and a 395 is a line drive to second base for Gary Alexander. That's 2 away. And now, well, Kuiper hit 283, so we're not going to pinch hit for him. He's a better hitter than Blanks is, so we'll save Blanks for somebody else. Blanks was only 254. Plus, Kuiper is much better defensively. So we'll let Kuiper swing away. 653, the home team's batting makes it 663. So 663 is still going to be a 3-1 ground out, as Chambliss will flip to Lyle. Take care of that. So we go to the 8th inning. It's 4-1. Score still remains the same. Like Led Zeppelin said, the song remains the same, and here the score remains the same. Coming up for the Yankees is Chambliss, Nettles, and White. Manji back out because he's got a fatigue of 2, so he won't be tired until the 9th. And you got lefties on lefties, so they're going to stick with Manji. And actually, it wasn't his fault to give a run. It was unearned. 660 for Chris Chambliss. 660 is going to be a 6-3 ground out. So Chambliss grounds out to Verizon. 1 down for Greg Nettles. That's a 238, and Nettles is a lefty. 238 is going to be a walk. So Manji kind of reverse split there. He walks the lefty, would have struck out the righty. Some of those lefties can do that, though. They have a certain way they pitch that is more effective against the opposite hand. All right, here's Roy White, switch hitter. 476, and he's facing a lefty. 476 is a deep fly to center field. That's 2 away for Bucky Dent. 182 for Bucky Dent. 182 is a wild pitch. So Manji uncorks the wild pitch. That will send Nettles to second base. Dent gets another chance. 487. And against a lefty, 487 is a deep fly to center field, and that will end the inning. So Manji goes 2 innings, and they'll probably bring in another pitcher to pitch the other innings because you don't want to get him tired. So he goes 2 innings, gives up a run, which was unearned, gave up a hit and a walk, and no strikeouts. And they'll find somebody to pitch the 9th. Sparky Lyle coming back out for his 2nd inning of work. Briggs is your scheduled hitter, but he won't hit. He's a lefty and not very good at that. Well, that's good to know, DJ. Excellent. Excellent. Good to hear. All right, so we need a pinch hitter. They just don't have a whole lot on the bench, unfortunately. At least it's not any good. They'll go ahead and let Larvell Blanks hit for Briggs, and then they'll bring in a new right fielder, Bernie Carbo. But they don't want Carbo to hit lefty-lefty, so they're going to have Carbo will take over in right field in the 9th inning. But pinch hitting is Larvell Blanks, so they can get a righty in there. So Larvell Blanks will do the pinch hitting, and Carbo will take over in right field in the 9th. Larvell Blanks, 254 hitter. I think that was the main guides, Chuck. All right, that's 661, but the home team's batting, so it's 671. So we go to 671, and that's going to be a 1-3 ground out. So he just missed a base hit. Ground ball back to Lyle for out number 1. And here's Verizon. 195, and that's a non-split. It's a bloop double. Bloop double for Verizon. He is aboard, and now it's going to add 10 to the ballpark chart since we are in fatigue territory. Here's Rick Manning, 446 against the lefty, 446. Says 4-6-3 double play, but the runner at second base is just a 4-3 ground out. Runner will move to third, but now there are 2 outs for Jim Norris. Lyle to Norris, 323. Non-split, 323 is an infield single, and that'll score the run. So Norris gets a base hit. He tripled, and now he singled. So 2 for 4 for Norris. This was an RBI single. And with Buddy Bell coming up, that's going to be it for Sparky Lyle. They will go and not waste any time and bring in the Goose. They will not waste any more time. Mr. Goose Gossage is coming on. course, in 1978, he pitched 134 innings, so a 4-out save is nothing to the Goose. Doesn't faze him a bit. Let's see, Lyle went an inning and 2/3, and he gave up 2 hits. So far, just 1 run, but he is responsible for Norris. And let's see, he didn't walk anybody and struck out 1. All right, so the Goose is on. But Buddy Bell represents the tying run at the plate. It's 4-2. Tying run is at the plate and Buddy Bell. That's a 609. Make it a 619 with the home team batting. 619 is a pop up to second, and that's going to end the inning. Tribe get a run, but that's all they get. Gossage gets out of the mess. And we go to the 9th inning with a score of 4-2. Carbo now inserted into right field for Cleveland. And Cleveland needs a new pitcher. Ismanji went 2 innings. And now they go to somebody else. Probably a right-hander this time. And not that it matters. I might as well go ahead and bring him in. Jim Kern. Jim Kern on to try to keep the score where it is. And he'll be facing Rivers, Randolph, and Munson, top of the order for the Yankees. That's a 264. And against the lefty Rivers, 264 is a strikeout. Boy, he's got a big strikeout range here, 230 to 294. And that's because he struck out about 1 per inning. So to use History Maker baseball lingo, that he would have flash. And that was a flash right there to get a strikeout on Mickey Rivers. 1 down, and here is Willie Randolph. 589. That's rough. You get the blue 9. Rick Manning's a good fielder, but he can't handle the blue 9. So this is going to probably be an error or a double or something. It's actually going to be a single. That's all. Run on first could try to advance, but there is no run on first, so it'll just be a single. Hey, Todd B. Let's see. Willie Randolph gets that single because there was no way of the blue 9 that Rick Manning, who's a pretty good fielder, was going to do anything with that. So here comes Thurman Munson. That's a 149, and a 149 is a base on balls. So now Kern running into issues. First and second, only 1 out, and here comes Hot Dog Jackson. That's a 265. Hot Dog Jackson, a lefty, 265 is going to fall in that strikeout range again. Out number 2. It's nice to have a range like that big for strikeouts. That certainly will help you out a lot. Here's Lou Piniella, 2 for 4. That is a 689. 689. 689 is a single plus, so everybody's going to go up an extra base. Willie Randolph will score. Munson will take third. RBI single for Piniella. He's 3 for 5, and the Yankees get an insurance run, lead at 5-2. 5-2, and here comes Chris Chambliss. 561. Well, with the blue 1, I could make a play with a blue 1. So Verizon on a 561 is just a 6-3 ground out. Now there are 2 outs already. Chambliss, a rough day, 0 for 5. But the Yankees get a run, so Kern goes 1 inning, gives up 2 hits and a walk and a run, and it gets 2 strikeouts. So now we go to the bottom of the 9th, last chance for the Cleveland Indians against Goose Gossage. It'll be Thornton, Dade, and Alexander. Let's see if there's any good lefties on the bench for the Cleveland Ball Club. Do they have anybody else that hits left-handed? It's a good hitter. Let's see, not really. I'm not seeing anyone on the bench right or left. It's a good hitter. Looks like the best average hitter they have. Well, Alfredo Griffin was 2 for 4 on the season, 500 hitter. I think that would be a little bit skewed to use him. But other than that, 235 is the best they have. So probably going to stick with what they've got on the field now and not worry about the bench because the bench is pretty meh. All right, here's Thornton. .324 for Thornton, and that's a non-split, and he will strike out. So the Goose gets his first strikeout. Here's Paul Dade. .653, home team's batting, .663. .663, though, is a 3-1 ground out. Chambliss will field it, flip to the Goose, 2 down. And last chance is Dwayne Kuiper. .672, and that's going to be a .682 with the home team batting. .682 is a base hit, so Kuiper keeps the game going with the base hit. Wait a minute, did I have him out of order? That should have been Alexander. What the heck happened to Alexander's card? Did he get mixed up in somewhere else? That should have been Alexander's at bat. But it's the same result, so it doesn't matter. We'll keep the result. But what the heck happened to Alexander's card? I just had it. Now it seemed like it disappeared on me. Don't know how that happened. Maybe when I was making defensive or pinch hitting changes, he got buried in there for somehow or another. But he's at first base now. Is Gary Alexander, because that was off the ballpark, so it didn't matter. Now Dwayne Kuiper is up. Kuiper, 507. That's trouble for Gossage, perhaps. No, wait a minute. That's a rare play. What am I talking about? Might be a good way to end the game on a rare play. How about that? Runner is on first. So when you do rare plays, you go to the score book to find out what page you're going to be using. So the rare plays are on page 29. And with the runner on first, this has 2 outs, and there are 2 outs. So this says, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I go to page 35 because that's runner on first with 2 outs. This is with less than 2 outs. So page 35 is where I go. Page number 35. Runner on first, and this says any number of outs. So hopefully I'm doing that right, Clay. Hopefully I picked the right page. There are 2 outs, a runner on first, and there are 2 outs. So I'm looking at this, trying to follow this right here. The 2 outs leads me to page 35 because page 34 is less than 2 outs. So I'm going to page 35 on the rare play chart, and we're going to roll. And that's a 542. 542 is right here, E1/R1. Pitcher's pickoff throw to first sails wide and is chased down by the first baseman. R1 advances to second and must try to advance to third by challenging the first baseman's arm. Okay. Would be a smart baseball move, but the book says he needs to challenge. And Alexander is not exactly the swiftest of runners. Alexander runs, his speed is a 0. First baseman's arm, Chambliss. Let's get his arm rating. Chambliss's arm rating is a 2. So he's got to challenge the first baseman's arm. So we go to the challenging arm page right here. So we're going to need the speed of the runner, which is a 0, which means we're going to have these 3 dice, and it's got to total 12 or higher. It's got to total the 2 arm plus the 10 or higher. So these 3 dice need to total 12 or higher to be safe. And they are, so he does make it to third base. How about that? So a pickoff error on Gossage. So it's a pickoff error, 2-base pickoff error on Gossage. How about that? Not sure why he was messing around with Alexander when there was 2 outs and Alexander's run didn't mean anything, but that's why it's a rare play. All right, so Kuiper steps back in there. Kuiper against Gossage, 240. Lefty hitter, 240 is going to be a base hit. Against a righty, it would have been a ground out, but this is a base hit. The run's going to score. So Cleveland gets the run across the plate, and now Bernie Carbo, who came in to play right field, he is at bat in a 5-3 game. He is the tying run. Bernie Carbo, he had 287 with 4 home runs. So if he gets that deep drive, he's got a power rating of 6. So anything can happen. That is a 694. 694, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Clay. Gossage pitched in the 8th inning. So to me, if I read the rule book correctly, even if you only pitch a third of an inning, once you start the next inning, that counts as inning number 2. So that would make him fatigued. And this single would have made him, these couple of singles would have made him fatigued. So the 694 would actually turn to a 704 for a deep drive to center. But maybe I'm reading too much into that. I don't know if pitching a third inning, does that make him tired is my question. He's got a stamina of 1, and he got the last out of the 8th inning. Does that count as a full inning for him? And then these hits become fatigue chances. That's what I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But I don't remember. I'm thinking it does, but I don't know 100% for sure on pitcher fatigue. Okay, so it counts against them. So it's definitely going to be a deep drive then, because they're way over there. So it's a deep drive to center field. And Carbo has a power rating of 6. So we're looking into center field. These 2 dice plus 6 are going to go here. So if he gets a 12 or higher, we got a tie game. We got a 5 instead. It's a total of 11. It's still going to be a double. It's still going to be a double. And the batter has a chance. Let's see here. It's a double. Double plus. Does that mean the batter's a chance to go to third? I don't know why you want to do that, because you're already in scoring position. So I'm not sure you want to take that chance. Double plus B question mark. So I mean, anyway, we're not gonna risk it. They got Gossage on the ropes, so no sense in risking it. Tom Verizor is your scheduled hitter. It is now a 5-4 game. Gossage is tired, so they may have to go to somebody else in the bullpen to finish out this game, because Gossage got him out of the 8th, but that caused him to be tired. Yeah, he can try the extra base, but I just don't think it's a wise move in this situation, because he's already in scoring position. If you get thrown out, the game's over. So he can score from second on a base hit. So the Yankees now, they're going to pull Gossage. And Gossage's not happy about it. He's frustrated, but they can't take the chance, you know. So they will go to Dick Tidrow to come in and try to close the deal. He did have 6 relief appearances. So Dick Tidrow will come on to try to finish up this game. For Gossage, he goes 1 inning. Let's see, Lyle he gave up the 1 run. That was it. So Gossage has given up 2 runs, but he's responsible for this 3rd run. This run is earned now. The E1 is irrelevant because of the single and the double. So Gossage gets a strikeout and gives up 3 hits. Giving up 2 runs, but he could give up a 3rd if Verizor is able to bring in Tidrow. Now the question is, for the Verizor hits 271 hitters, so we're not going to. That's better than what's on the bench. I can guarantee you that. So Dick Tidrow trying to hold on to this lead. It's 5-4. Boy, how big was that run in the 9th now? 5-4, 2 outs, and Verizor. That is a 403. 403 against the righty, and a 403 is a ground ball right in front of the plate that Munson throws him out, and that's going to end the ball game. So Tidrow will get the save, pitching 1/3 of an inning. He will get the save. Gossage is going to give up 2 runs, and 5-4 your ball game. Let's see, Blanks had an error, and so did Gossage on the pickoff. I think those are the only 2 errors in the game, if my memory serves me correctly. No, there are 2 errors on Cleveland. 2 errors on Cleveland, one on Thornton and one on Riser. All right, so losing pitcher in this game is Clyde because they never came back to tie the score. So Clyde is the losing pitcher. Beattie gets the win. Tidrow gets the save. For the Yankees, 5 runs on 8 hits and 1 error. For Cleveland, 4 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors. So there you go. Next Saturday will be the final game of the NBC Game of the Week schedule, September 30th. We'll be at Fenway Park, and it will be the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Boston Red Sox. Dennis Eckersley against Jesse Jefferson. I would say the advantage lies with Boston, but that's why you roll the dice. So anyway, thank you all for being here for part of this NBC Game of the Week. Special thanks to Clay for being here and getting me straight on the rules. And the Yankees and Cleveland, I thought it'd be a blowout for the Yankees, but Cleveland made it interesting at the end, especially against Goose Gossage. So let's go do it from here. I may come back tonight with a Demolition League game. I'm not sure. If not, then my next thing would be the 1987 American League Stratomatic replay. That'll be Monday morning at roughly 9 o'clock. And that's going to be, ironically, Cleveland and Boston, where Bruce Hurst will be taking on Tom Candiotti. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all having a great Saturday wherever you are. If you're into college football, you're in hog heaven. Baseball, you got the pennant races. So there's all kind of stuff going on. But enjoy whatever it is you have planned for the day. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.